What on earth is this? This is something I've had for years. I only discovered it the other day, and I kind of just do most of it in my head these days. But yeah, I posted something on Instagram, and some people wanted to know how I use it, what it's for. So I thought I'd make a little video explaining this. I've made a bunch of notes because I kind of do it instinctively now, and I just wanted to try and lay everything out. So you have to excuse me if I'm reading the notes. But basically what it came from was Wayne Krantz initially. Books like The Music Lesson, Effortless Mastery, Slanimsky, Studying with Tronzo, just all the stuff I was trying to work on. It got a bit overwhelming after a while, and at a certain point I realized, well, if I boil it down to intervals and pitches, can I not kind of make my own version of this? And initially it was a way of dealing with the Wayne Krantz material, but I've kind of done a lot more with it since. So basically all of Western music is here. It's got all 12 pitches, and it's got all the intervals within an octave. So you can use enharmonic spelling to replace, flats with sharps, so D flat, C sharp. You can transpose the intervals by an octave. So instead of a flat 3, you might get a sharp 9, or where else? The 2 might be a 9, for instance. So you can extend it beyond, but this is just boiling it down to, the nuts and bolts. It's, as I say, it's basically a way of trying to have everything in one place. So rather than having a load of books and a load of things that I'm trying to do, it's just a piece of paper, which I laminated in the end. Now, there are some things that are important to explain about this, and the principle that I picked up from Kenny Werner of practicing things for the effect that they have on your playing. So you're not kind of rehearsing the way that you're going to play necessarily. This is just allowing you to kind of dive in and really deal with the nuts and bolts of music. And as I give you some examples, I hope you'll see what I mean. But you don't have to practice like this all the time. This could be just a part of your practice, and it can have a very powerful effect. But don't feel that this is all you're going to do. You're going to replace everything else. That's you can still work on tunes and all the other stuff you work on, I'm sure. It's not stylistic at all. So this kind of stuff is just, again, raw nuts and bolts of music, whether you're playing jazz, classical music, blues, any style. It's just dealing with the raw material of music, which is important. What it doesn't include is rhythm, so I have other ways that I work on rhythm and think about rhythm. I don't have them on one sheet, but I'm now inspired to try and figure out how I can do that once I started thinking about all this stuff again a bit more deeply. And I'll also just say here, it's really worth writing music using some of this stuff that you might discover from this. It's a really good way of applying it. Also just applying it to music you're playing already, and just trying to get it in there and actually, make music with it, rather than it just being, airy-fairy stuff. So I think it's important to have a certain amount of knowledge beforehand. I mean, you can use this on a very basic level. For instance, just looking at the pitches, you could just randomly pick a pitch, say G, and try and find it on all strings. So you grab your guitar and go, okay, well, I just randomly picked G, so I'm going to find that on the 6th string and the 5th, and I'm going to just find it on all the strings, and I'm going to pick another pitch. It might take you a bit longer if you're not used to doing that kind of thing, but that's one use for this. Or intervals. If say you pick a note, so I'm going to pick A, and I want to play a flat 6. Okay, well, here's A, and flat 6, same as sharp 5, or that'd be up an octave, and then you could find it from different A's. So here's A again, or you can just explore, basically use it just to find pitches and intervals. You could also use it for ear training. that'll save your ears. And you don't have to be able to sing to do this necessarily, but you could pick a note, say D flat, and sing up a minor second. You know, that's a really good way of just kind of getting familiar with stuff and just trying to randomize it as much as possible. The other stuff you could do, I mean, having an understanding of the chromatic scale and how intervals work on the guitar and what the shapes look like would be helpful, you know, to allow you access to some of the more advanced things. Understanding about keys, good scale knowledge, having enough kind of guitar knowledge to be able to harmonize melodies. So it can get, you know, as advanced as you are really, but you know, this can grow with you, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say. So the Wayne Krantz thing, I suggest that you check out his book, The Improviser's OS, which is now at the bottom of the pile, so I won't pull it out, but you can get it through him, I think from his Bandcamp site these days. Yeah, incredible, eye-opening book. But actually, I will show you. No, I won't. I'll let you find that. But basically, in a very, very superficial way, what you're doing is just trying to improvise using a set of intervals. So what I would do with this, when I first did it, was I would pick a key. So let's pick D, and let's pick some intervals. So I'll pick the root, second, fourth, and flat 5. So I'm in D, I'm going 1, 2, 4, 5, and I just pick an area of the guitar. So here's there's my D, there's my 2, 4, and then flat 5. And the idea is, as he does it, it's within a 4-fret group position, and it's interesting with the slide because it doesn't correspond to the fingers in the same way that it would for conventional guitar playing. But basically what you then do is you're improvising using those notes within that position. So I've got D, and you normally do this with a metronome. Metronome's on my phone, so I'm not using it, but I slipped up on one note there. But that's part of the thing. You know, you're just, each day you're just trying to, you know, explore and make the search for these things. And over time, it has a very interesting impact on your playing. The other things you could do is you could use it to improvise through different keys at random. So you could go, oh, I'm going to pick the key of C and the key of A, and I'm just going to improvise. I'm going to get A. So you just use it to set yourself a little challenge of, you know, switching keys or switching one position if you want. You could pick a couple of notes and you could use those as melody notes to harmonize. So I could pick G and A flat. I'll take the slide off for this just so I can play some bigger chords, but I could say G, and I'm going to harmonize that with some kind of G major chord. So maybe I'll do this. And then I've got A flat, and I'll do that with some kind of minor chord. So it's my G, and then, you know, so I can use that to kind of get comfortable with harmonizing different melody notes and trying to come up with weird and wonderful ways of putting chords underneath them. It could also be the root note of the chord, and I could be trying to voice lead these chords. So for instance, let's pick what we've got, G flat and E. So here's G flat. Maybe I'll play G flat major, 7 sharp 11, and try and go to an E 7th smoothly. Or even E7 flat 5 might be nice there. That's got no third. You can come with some really beautiful chord progressions, and also convince yourself that any chord can go to any chord, which is a good thing to figure out and play around with. Pairs of notes at random could also be used, and this comes from Tronzo, to basically represent a whole bunch of different chords. So I could pick, let's see, I'll pick D flat and E. So I've got these two notes, and then I just explore what happens if I put different bass notes underneath. So if I put an A underneath, it's like an A major sound. I can make it A major 7th if I want. If I put a B flat, it could be B flat minor 7 flat 5. It could be B11. If I put a C, it could be like C9. And so on. I can just go through all the possible root notes and try and find what chords could be represented by those two notes. And that's very useful with the slide, because when you figure out how to put those two notes together under the slide, then you're able to create chord sounds based off lots of different root notes. You could make a melody out of 3 or 4 notes. So you could, I don't know, what do we got here? C, A, and G. So you can kind of improvise around with that, and then write a melody based on those notes. Use that as a little melodic cell that you can explore. For instance, if I look at it like this, it's like C down to G is a 4th, G up to A is a 2nd. So I might decide, okay, well, I can do that anywhere. I can do down a 4th, and then I could go up or down a 4th. Sorry, a 2nd. Maybe I could go up a 4th and down a 2nd, up a 4th. You can just start exploring material based on that. I'm kind of rushing through this, but each of these ideas you could spend months and months on. I mean, and the concept behind this is that it allows you to kind of randomize stuff, so that if you have a particular thing you're going to work on, you can vary the intervals and vary the pitches and the root notes and things like that. And that's where I found it incredibly useful, so that I don't just do everything in the key of C and use 1, 4, 5 all the time. So I hope that's helpful. As I say, this is just something that has helped me to kind of make sense of a lot of material that I've tried to work through, and find my own way of accessing some of this information. I'm sure there are lots and lots of other things that you can think of that you could do with this. I'm just talking through some of the things that I do, but it changes, and I'm sure I'll find other things as well as you will. So anyway, I hope that's helpful. If it is, create your own sheet and try playing around with it. And I guess do the usual YouTube liking, subscribing, commenting type stuff. And yeah, if you have any ideas about other ways that you've used something similar, I'd love to hear, because it's always useful to share this kind of stuff. So check those in the comments. Otherwise, have fun. Happy sliding.